I'm so excited to bring you another edition of Matters of Destiny today, a platform of the Teams Ministry of the Foursquare Gospel Church, Abuja Access. And here we bring you life-changing encounters with people who God has helped to overcome issues, that young people like you may be struggling with. And as I always say, you are a creature of purpose, and God has a purpose for your life. You are going somewhere to happen. The devil can't stop you, the world can't stop you, and you shouldn't stop yourself. But we know that there are many things that stop people from reaching their destinations in life. And on this platform, we've been discussing a number of them. So today, we are going to be discussing another one of them. And this one is so critical because it affects quite a lot of young people like you. And with me in the studio to discuss it is a very special guest. But before I introduce him, what we are going to be talking about today is drug and substance abuse and the things that are associated with that, addictions and breaking free from those addictions. Globally, according to the 2022 World Drug Report, 284 million people, that is about 5.6% of the global adult population, use drugs as at least once in 2020. The United Nations Office of Drug and Crime estimates that 1 in 7 Nigerians aged 15 to 64 years had used drugs at least once in 2017, with those between 25 and 39 years most likely to use drugs. Young people like you, adolescents, are particularly in a critical period of their lives because of the increased risk of drug initiation. There's evidence that many people who are hooked on drugs got initiated while they were adolescents. And early initiations has implications for continuous use and subsequent harm. So let's bring it home. In Nigeria, teenage cannabis use is put at 3.3%. When you look at the number, it looks like it's a small number, but if you multiply by that number by the teeming population of young people in Nigeria, you will know that it's a huge amount of people that is affected by this. But I'm glad to announce to you that in the studio with me today is someone who has been there, someone who has fought this war and has won it. He's gone through that route and the Lord has helped him. And today he's going to be sharing his life experience with us. And I'm excited to introduce to you Ambassador Kenneth Anetor. He is the Executive Director of A New Thing International Foundation. Ambassador Kenneth Anetor is a distinguished humanitarian. He's a substance abuse prevention expert and is passionate and advocates for mental health, youth development and community empowerment. As a co-founder and executive director of A New Thing International Foundation, he has led pioneering initiatives focused on prevention, education, and rehabilitation, especially among vulnerable populations across Nigeria. And like I mentioned earlier, he's a survivor of substance use himself. And he has transformed his personal journey into a powerful platform for change. He currently serves as a consultant to the Nigerian Senate Committee on Drugs and Narcotics and is the Vice National Chairman of the Association of Advocates Against Alcohol Addiction in Nigeria. His works include community sensitization, faith-based interventions, and capacity building programs for young people, particularly in underserved regions across the world. We are so delighted to have you on Matters of Destiny today, Ambassador Ken.
It's a pleasure to be here. I don't take it for granted. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming and taking your time to come share with us. So, like I mentioned earlier, this platform is a platform that targets young people. Um, it's a platform of the Teenagers Ministry of Foursquare Gospel Church in Abuja Axis. And what the goal is to let young people out there know that, one, they are creatures of purpose, and that God has a purpose for your life does not mean you will accomplish it, does not mean you will fulfill it. There are things that stop people, there are things that hinder people from actually getting to the best that God wants them. And on this platform, we pick on those issues and we try to address them, we try to deal with them, we try to look for people who have gone through it. And I'm so excited to have you on the platform today. And I know that some of the things that you're going to be sharing with them from your life experience, there are some of them that will pick those things. I'll be able to run with it. So to start with, I would like you to just briefly describe what drug and substance abuse is. What is it, and how big is the problem in your own opinion?
Right. Again, I'd like to say thank you. I'm opportune to be a clergy, so I really appreciate this type of platform because it will allow me to be unrestrained. Because when I talk on platform, I have to sometimes weigh the audience, but now I can, let me say, be myself. Thank you for that. When we look at substance abuse, first of all, a drug is any substance, either man-made or naturally occurring, and once taken into the system, it changes the normal behavior of a body. Now, we'll now look at substance abuse. There are three things that we look at. One, if someone takes a drug that is not legal in the territory or the region where the person is taking that drug. Per se, some countries have legalized marijuana, but the insanity rate, psychosis rate went up when they legalized it. So in those countries, it's legal. But here in Nigeria, if you're caught with cannabis, you can face up to, with the new NDLA Act that was amended, you can face between 15 to life imprisonment, caught with a certain amount of narcotic substance. Then also, if someone has symptoms, like now someone says their head is aching them, and their head is aching them, and say, my head is aching me, then immediately they say, take Panadol. Meanwhile, the headache can be a symptom of something else that is going on in the body, because if someone does not eat from morning till night, in the night the person will have headache. So if the person takes Panadol in the night, it might not stop the headache, but if the person eats, it will stop the headache. So now the person just going after Panadol is actually substance abuse. And I also want mothers to know this, because a lot of mothers, I have a cousin that if she just coughs, Panadol. If she fall down, Panadol. If she does her body somehow, Panadol. Anything Panadol. So that's also substance abuse. Then another one is when you have been given a particular drug by a medical professional, and the person tells you the way you should take the drug. Taking the drug different from the way the medical professional says you should take it also amounts to substance abuse. Per se, if someone is given a syrup, a particular syrup, and said, okay, you're meant to take it once, 3 times a day. When the person says, okay, I have class, I have work, I don't want to be going around with this bottle. So I'm meant to take one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the night. Can I not just take the 3 spoons in the morning? It sounds like you're taking a dosage for the whole day now. But that's not how it works. That's actually substance abuse. So the challenge of substance abuse is when a person takes a particular substance over a while, there are 3 stages of usage. There's the preliminary, the testing, and there's the social stage. Then we have the dependency stage. The preliminary stage can be experimental. Person is trying to test the drug for different reasons and different factors. Some of those factors might include maybe the person is in an environment where that particular substance is common. Maybe every day when the person is a student and is at home after school, the dad just comes back and the dad goes straight to a bar in the house. There's a bar in the house and he just takes one cup, drop it, say these people will not kill me in the office. The wife comes and rub his back, say, honey, take it. Says, I know, where's the food? So now that person is growing up in an environment where that substance is being used. So sometimes it might be hard to tell this person that this is actually bad until the person begins to see the damages, the effects that it can have on the family. So those are some of the risk factors: parental use, environmental use. The person wakes up in the morning and is strolling to school, and there's always one 70-year-old retired baba that's always outside smoking cigarettes. And that person knows that that man is the nicest man. How do you tell the person that substance use is bad, except when the person looks at other people using substance and sees, I don't want my life to go in this direction. There are other things that could lead to someone wanting to experiment. There's peer pressure. Maybe the person sees a particular group of kids or seniors that he wants to fit in or wants to be like them and says, I want to try it. But the person needs to understand the dangers associated with substance use. Also, there's peer rejection. Maybe a person is rejected by a group of people, maybe the smart ones in class, or the prefects, or maybe some other people he wanted to be friends with. And as a form of rebellion, the person says they want to turn to substance use, not knowing that that can also cut their life short. Apart from that, there are other things that can risk factors like medical challenges. I've had examples of people that they I had genuine medical challenges. Some people were sick. There was this lady, I was opportune to listen to her speak. She's a beauty queen, and she didn't know that she had sickle cell, and she had been living with it until she got old. And one day she fainted during the program, and they told her this is the challenge that she didn't know. So when she was in hospital, there was someone that they were giving them some injections for the pain. So there was someone else that was there too, being treated at the same time. The person explained to her, see, you have to be taking care of yourself. You have to be able to inject yourself so you can be calm and this. And so she was able to get the medication. She had doctor friends that prescribed for her and she was injecting herself. But after a while, she noticed that her friend passed away because of an overdose. So she now advised herself that if she continues in this direction, she can go. So she now started advocating against it too, especially to people that are prone to pain, face a lot of pain. There are also other risk factors that can lead people to using substance use: traumatic experience. Some people, when they close their eyes, they relieve some negative experience, accidents, some maybe abuse. So they relieve those things. But using substance as a form of escape is actually taking a dive down the rabbit hole because there's so many other consequences that using substances can have.
Okay, so thank you so much. I think you've mentioned quite a number of risk factors, but one of the things that came to my mind while you were speaking is that young people of this generation, they are always on social media. You can't take them from social media. And one of the downsides of social media is that people don't usually post the negative sides of their life. They post the beautiful parts, the flashy parts, and then young people will look at that and they'll be like, oh, I want to be like this person. But they don't really know the struggles that go on behind the scene for those people. Now, what do you think is the role of social media, and also popular culture? What do you think is their role in drug and substance use?
I'm opportune to be a media major. So we understand that the media is the fourth arm of government. It's meant to checkmate government. But when we look at it from a philosophical point of view, you see that the media is responsible for informing the mind of a generation. The media is responsible for setting the pace, for defining what is right, for defining what is wrong, different from whatever law or constitution might be. Personally, I've been opportune to interact with some celebrities, and most of the things that they portray is not what it is. I was opportune to go for a national youth conference about 8 years ago. No, about 8 to 9 years ago. And while I was there, I was opportune to meet a very big celebrity, a big musician singer, and he was preaching. I was like, ah, I said, you can't preach, you can't come and you can't come and do rubbish on social media
And then
and come here and be preaching to me. So we engaged him now, because you can't be telling us something then like we don't know you. So he now said we should check all his video, and whether we have ever seen him dancing with all these naked girls on his video. I said, sir, I have your video with girls dressed anyhow on your video. Said I should check it again, whether I can ever see him in a scene where those girls are with him. That it is the record label that makes those girls to be in the video, but his personal belief is that he should not be in any clip where any girl is with him. And we checked it, there's no clip.
Are you serious?
All his videos, there's no clip where he's either dancing with a girl or he's seated down and a girl that is dressed anyhow is around him. They will be cutting the scenes to show the girls, show him separately, and we're like, so he was telling us that these are the things that the companies do to make things sell, but they have their personal beliefs, and he does not, that's not his lifestyle, he doesn't live like that. So it now had me thinking about all these other people that hold drinks sometimes. And I realized some of them don't drink. Some of them will hold the brandy, hold this thing up, they don't drink. Doing another study, I saw that there was a time that Michael Jackson did an advert for Coca-Cola. He said he doesn't like Coca-Cola, he doesn't drink Coca-Cola, he will not drink Coke, and there should not be a scene with him and the Coke bottle holding you will not have a scene holding the Coke bottle, and there should not be a scene where they hold the Coke bottle for more than 5 seconds. And I watched that ad well, and I saw it's like that. So some of these people get paid to portray this lifestyle, but they don't live like that. Because if you look at the detrimental effect of using some of these substances, if you look at the way they look, you know that this person can't be taking this, because the person would have died.
So what that means is that young people who just watch what they see on social media and believe it, and then they go practicing it because they believe that, oh, this person is also doing it, and nothing's wrong with him, he's a celebrity and blah blah blah. They are going in the wrong direction because they are believing a lie, so to speak.
Believing a lie. They're believing a lie.
So
being told a lie.
So let's then go on and talk about, we've talked about the risk factors. What are some of the consequences, of getting hooked on drugs and substance? I've seen, some examples myself of, young people, because this is, what I do. And I remember there was this young boy during the COVID lockdown. He had just entered into university, was in year 1 before COVID broke. And getting in and then coming back home, his mom just said he noticed that he was not the same. He would sneak out in the night, he would come back, he would lock himself up in the room. And they were wondering what is going on with him. Nobody knew until one day he went out and was coming back, and his dad just grabbed him and put his hand in his pocket, and then they found a wrap, in his pocket. And that's when, even then, he still was denying, using it and all that. But fast forward, we saw that it affected his academics. He was no longer going to class, he was no longer going to lectures, and by the time this story is such a sad story, because like 4 years, this is 2025, his mates graduated last year, and unfortunately this boy did not graduate. It meant that all the while that he said he was in the university, he wasn't going to classes, he wasn't doing anything, and now he's just starting all over again to get incorporated. So the consequences are huge, and it's terrible. But I'd like you to share with us some of the consequences from your own
There are a lot of
perspective.
consequences associated with substance use. We can divide those consequences into physical consequences, psychological consequences, and we can say social consequences.
Mm,
The physical mean like more of health consequences.
mm,
Talk about health, there are a lot of damages that can happen to a person from different forms of cancer, throat cancer, stomach
mm,
cancer, skin cancer, liver failure, kidney failure, different. But one that was very interesting to me was someone that had that leg amputated.
mm,
So this person had been injecting substances into
mm,
their vein. As they're injecting it, if the person wears short sleeve, they would see it and they'll say, "What is happening to your hand?" So
mm.
the person stopped injecting their hand.
And
Tried,
started
started
using.
trying up here. It was not going well. So the person tried here. The thing was when they wear slippers, it would
Mm,
choke. So the person started injecting here. So while the person was injecting just below the knee,
mm,
the person had an infection from using a dirty needle, and the thing started to rotting.
mm,
So because the person would always cover it, nobody knew,
mm,
and they were not willing to tell anybody
mm,
because they were still injecting around that area
mm,
until it started smelling. And everybody's asking, why you always smelling? What
mm.
is happening? And the person had to expose. The rot had eaten deep
Oh my
and the bone
God.
was already showing.
Oh my
So at the
God.
point where I came to find out, I was with one of the board of trustees for the Northeast Development Commission, and she
Mm,
showed it to me. Said, "Kenneth, look at this case." I was consulting for them for a period. I
mm.
said, "Kenneth, look at this case. What do we do now?" I said, "Ma, I think I have to cut off that leg."
Wow.
Because the rot had eaten deep and the bone was already
Mm,
showing. You
mm,
could see the mutilated skin. So there are a lot of physical things that could happen. Among social consequences, substance use can lead to rape.
mm,
If someone is giving a young boy or a young girl a particular drug, the person has to observe the motive. What is the motive for this person giving me this drug? Did they write give me drugs on my head?
mm,
Are you the only young boy or the young girl in the neighborhood? Why is this person always giving you drugs? Does this person have an ulterior motive for you? Does this person want to take advantage of you?
mm.
The person has to observe that. It can lead to family disintegration. You get to a point that, like this story that you told now, the dad could have easily said, I told the mom, you are the
It's your
one that is
fault.
always spoiling this child.
Mm,
I told you, don't let this child, even to that school. I said, don't let him
mm,
go to that school. That school, they have bad boys in that school. But you insisted, you said it's the
mm,
best. Have you seen where the best has taken you to?
mm,
Now, I don't want him to even go to school. Let him go and learn. Say, no, he will not learn this, he will not learn that. Say,
mm,
if he will not go, if he still will go to school, then you and him should leave the house and go to school somewhere
mm,
else. And then the woman said, no, I can't leave my son. I will not leave him. This. They said, I will go, you go. Family
mm.
disintegration. Or a case, the lady, maybe a girl, the dad comes back or the mom comes back and says, Papa Zara, I was telling you, stop spoiling this girl. Every day, everywhere I go, all my friends, no one is talking to me again. They said you can't raise your daughter. They say you can't take care of your daughter. Am I the only one that gave birth to a daughter? Every day they call my daughter for this, they call my daughter for that. And the mom is like, I'm
Mm,
tired of this relationship. I just want my peace. I just want my peace. In fact, I want to leave. It can lead to family disintegration. It can lead to
mm,
family stigmatization. There was a
mm,
course that the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, they were teaching us about stigmatization. And they said, if your sister wanted to get married from a family and you knew that that family, there was somebody that was using drugs before,
mm.
has been rehabilitated, and the person is still the
So
brother of that sister, of that lady, will you allow the person to marry your sister? Everybody said no. Said okay. Then I asked another group of people, said, if your brother was using drugs, has been treated, rehabilitated, and has stopped, and somebody wants to come and marry your brother, will you stop the person? Everybody said no, they won't stop the person. He said,
mm,
will you reject your brother because he was using drugs before?
mm,
Everybody said no. He said, but if it was your sister and wants to marry the person, we agree. He said, no, you should not marry. So the
mm.
stigma, there are sometimes
Yeah.
that a label will be placed on a family. They
Mm,
say, no,
mm,
don't marry from that family. Because of one person's drug
mm,
usage, say, don't marry from that family. All of them use drugs. Or they say that community, all of them are like this. But whenever we talk about the consequences, it's important that we balance it, because it can, apart from another consequence, it can lead to psychosis. I've even seen schizophrenia. There was a young boy, and he used to use substances. He used to smoke a lot, and from that smoking, the mom, I was opportunity to know the mom. The mom had was retiring, so she had a lot of money that she used to buy shares in the company. She bought 150 million naira worth of shares, and she divided it into two. That was about, what year was that? About 2015. She divided it into two. There were three brothers and one girl. Between the two senior brothers, one doesn't take drugs, one takes drugs. So she divided it into two and gave to the two of them. So now the one that doesn't take drugs felt like the one that takes drugs is irresponsible. They both have cars. That one got married and they're living their life. And he felt like this boy is going to waste this thing, but this boy will be slowing down process. So he prepared documents for the boy to I'll not say hand over, but for the boy to give him to manage his shares for
Okay,
him.
fine.
So he brought the documents to give to him. Unfortunately, on the day that he brought the documents to give to him, he was not
Was
on
high.
drugs.
Oh.
So he didn't, usually anything you give him, he signs it. So he didn't sign it that day. He said he would look at it. But the brother knows the guy is always on drugs. So he didn't even, he just left it for him to sign. So when he read it, it's like something just clicked in his head. He said, if they will steal my shares, that means they can kidnap me. If they can kidnap me, that means they can kill me. If they can kill me in my own house, that means I'm not more safe. And this is a boy that they're all American citizens, but we went to school together. All American citizens. The boy has an American accent. And the boy, every time I was seeing him, he would be like, they're trying to steal my shares, they're trying to steal my shares. And I was wondering what this guy is saying. And everybody was saying this boy is going mad. But the mom said I should look into the case. So I spoke to him. He now explained this thing to me. This boy stopped eating any food in the house. The boy that has never cooked for himself learned how to cook and started cooking for himself. The boy now started pushing everybody out of the house. Started locking his door, offing the light. Everybody coming inside. He was just acting somehow. The mom traveled. They have another house. When the mom traveled abroad for a while, he locked everybody out of the house. Said everybody should move to the other house. Out of respect for him and his private space, they left him in the house. After he had pushed everybody out of the house, he now started looking outside, so that they might send someone to come and kill him from outside. Then one of his neighbors, the wife was sick. He now said, okay, he called the police and said that the neighbor has killed his wife. And the police, because he has an American accent, there's nothing he will say that you not believe his life is in danger. The police came to arrest the neighbor, and the neighbor showed that the wife was terminally ill in the house. So after they saw that this thing, the police now came to find who gave us the false information. And when the police came, he said it. I've said it now. They have been wanting to kill me since. They have sent police now. As the police came down, that's when we found out he had bought gun. He started shooting spiral, shooting. As he was shooting, that's when the mother called me from the US. Kenneth, you need to go to the house. What is happening? So thin as this. Not a police officer. I don't have gun, of course. So I reached out to my friend as a police officer. He said he's not coming, that the officers handling it. Reached out to the rehabilitation center. We worked out a way to come and pick him. When the rehabilitation center head of the case, they said they're not coming to pick him, we should bring him. So the police had to send a negotiator. Negotiator negotiated with him. He surrendered. We took him to rehabilitation center. Rehabilitation center, for a month, he had to pay 500 and something thousand naira.
Wow.
He paid 500 and something thousand naira for a month.
So we see that I mean you've highlighted the different kinds of consequences that can happen. So this is like a mental one, you know.
Yes, he developed schizophrenia
And all that. So maybe let's backtrack a little bit, and I'd like you to share your personal experience with us. What happened to you? How did you get into drugs? What was that journey like for you? And how did you get out of it?
Personally, I would have said the first time that I ever used substance would have been in my, think, SS1,
Mm.
when we just came back from the GS3 break.
Mm.
So came back. Our school admitted a lot of new people into school,
Mm.
and there were a couple of bad boys in the school.
Mm.
But there was something that happened. So that SS1, I was a prefect in my school from GS1 to GS3.
Mm.
So when we came back, I went to London with my family. When we came back in SS1, they were meant to renew my tenure,
Mm.
but they didn't renew my tenure. And I was like, like I've been a good boy my whole
All
life.
right.
Good boy, the best boy, need stress, this thing, and this is my reward. So I now
Mm.
said, okay, now I'm going to be the bad boy. Said anything that wants to be associated with bad, I will be the bad boy. And I made up my mind and I pursued it
Mm.
sternly. So everything that was associated with being bad,
Mm.
going late to class, dressing anyhow, I was now doing it intentionally
Mm.
because I felt like the school did not do the
Reward
right thing,
your good
reward my
behavior.
good behavior and my loyalty. So I started making bad friends, and among some of those bad friends was one friend who was Italian. He's late
Mm.
now. He
Mm.
actually died. He actually died immediately after graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, he overdosed on drugs
Wow.
and he passed away. Was a very handsome boy, very tall. Was an Italian, half Nigerian, and he overdosed. And
Mm.
that was where my journey for substance use started. I went to my I was expelled from that school. I went to another school. God helped me, I graduated.
Mm.
In 2007, I went to my first university, and that university I was there for like a semester. I got expelled too. Left
Wow.
down. I went to another school. That school was like a secondary school. They didn't allow us with phones,
Mm.
this thing. But since I've been opportunity to be on TV since I was in primary school, so I was always very talented. So I would always get competitions. I'd always be picked for art, for exhibitions, for dance, for different things.
Mm.
So I was always on TV. So I always had this artistic side of me.
Mm.
So when I was in that last university, my second university, so there was one of my friends there that we used to do art projects, music projects together, and they were billionaires, and their dad just passed away.
Mm.
So they inherited all the wealth, and they're like, "What are we even doing in school? Let's leave school and just go."
Mm.
So I left school. I
Wow.
went
With them.
with them. There was so Disney Channel did a competition that year, and Disney Channel chose me to represent Nigeria on an international platform. But my parents, they didn't agree. They said no, 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 that this one must go to school. Someone must go to school. So they didn't agree. So that was how I went to that second school. If not, I was
Mm.
meant to just go abroad with Disney Channel.
Mm.
So I now went after that. So when that opportunity came, I just left it. We set up, we went to the house, we had the place, there was everything, but we never did any music. All we did was drink, party, drugs, play
Mm.
games, video
Mm.
games, and life was just passing by.
Wow.
So I remember there was a time that I remember on the 2nd of January, hold on, 2nd of January 2011. I think it's 2011, 2nd of January 2011. So that day, my my friend's senior brother, we came with the sisters, we all went to Silverbed, said that, and we filled the boots with like bundles of this thing was name 500 naira notes in Ghana was goes. And we said we are going to spend all the money that day. But when we went there was only popcorn and ice cream. So we now said, okay, let's go and drop the sisters in the house. Then we'll now go somewhere to go and spend all the money. So as we came out from that silver bed road, we were racing. So we were meant to go back to Apo, but we were also meant to but he was driving straight and we were meant to go back to Apo, and we're like, so on that road, if you actually know Abuja roads, if you're coming from Silverbed and you want to turn back to Sheraton, there's a curve that you have to take.
Yes.
So we're trying to take that curve, and our car just flipped off the road. I remember the song that was playing in that car. The car was just flipping. Oh yeah, come around. Like the way you roll, the car was rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and when the car landed, they opened the doors and they came. I felt that I jumped out of the car when the car landed. Was all what they told me, that everybody was unconscious when the car landed, that they had to come and hit the car like this, and that's how we woke up. Then I came out, everybody came out. I was at the back seat. That's how I got this cut here. This my ear when
When no hear
when
what?
no ear what the ear finally cut. I had a long cut from here
Oh
to
my
like
God.
it was like here to here, here, and there was blood all over my face. I remember my friend's sister. She came with like handkerchief. She was just giving me. I was soaking it. I would squeeze it, drop it. She give me another one. I soak it like this, squeeze it, drop. Then they now ask, where's the driver? Where's Somo? Somo was not in the car. He flew out of the car. They had to go and look for Somo. They now found, and Somo is like 6'4". They could not carry Somo. I was the only one that could go and carry Somo. I now went there, carried Somo. Remember, we drove to, I don't know which hospital. I think it's that Gariki hospital. We went there. When they were wheeling me in on the wheelchair, I was looking at the counter. The 500 naira mint note I wanted to go and spend. That's what they were using for deposit there, like with blood. The deposit, I remember seeing that before they took me, gave me anesthesias, and I woke up. They stitched me. I woke up later in midnight. Just so my dad stays in Lagos and my mom stays here, and my mom had to call my dad that she can't do this
Handle it.
again, no. That the pressure is too much. So my dad came around and we went to do a project. My dad had a project in Edo State. So I went to my dad to Edo State, went to handle some contracts with him in Edo State. And while we're in Edo State, I was staying with my auntie. My auntie is a reverend. She was raised by Archbishop Benson Dawosa. So she's a reverend. And when I went to her house, her husband is a magistrate. So when I was there, she never told me you're a bad boy. She never told me that don't do drugs. All she told me that in this house we go to church on Wednesdays, on Fridays, and on Sundays. Always be ready at so time. That was all she told me when I came to the house. And relatively, she was a nice person. She owns a fashion house. She schooled in France. All her children are Harvard graduates. So she's a very nice person. So I was come. I was in the house. While I was in the house, I started attending her church. So as I was attending her church, I would see the pastor will come out. People will come and share testimonies. I joined this church, this. I was inside the dream. I saw the pastor. The pastor came and opened me from the cage. And after I came out, I had this contract. Everybody would clap. I said, God, they brought me to where they're doing Nigerian film. God. Somebody will say, I was this, I was that, did this. Before
So you
know
didn't believe
I
the
didn't believe the
testimonies.
testimonies at all. But I realized I came to Edo State in January, and I realized that those my friends that we used to spend, because I was the life of the party, I'm the one that anything they want to do, they'll ask my opinion. But nobody was calling me. And I was like, what is happening? Everybody was busy.
Did they all survive the accident?
Only Somo.
Okay.
Somo was unconscious. Only the driver was unconscious. And even up to today, I've not seen Somo.
Wow.
I stayed there for about 3 weeks watching Somo, but Somo I never saw Somo come back up. But he was in Covenant, he was in his second year.
Wow.
And the funny thing was that Somo doesn't drink, Somo doesn't take drugs. Somo was just the one driving. And it was New Year's Day. So he came to come and stay with his friends. And he was the one that brought his car.
Wow.
And he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do anything.
Talk about association.
So he doesn't do anything, but he just likes the company. Like this is cousin. He was with his cousins.
Wow.
So that day was, so I was looking at all these things. So I said, okay, I would hear the pastor always say, that if you give me 3 months, that if nothing happens, leave my church. I said, okay. Every church I've gone to, nobody ever gave me deadline for God to show up. So I said, all right, I'm gonna give this God a try. So I went to the pastor and I met pastor. Pastor said, "Ah, this day you are this person's nephew." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, okay, okay." Said, "I want to sow a seed." Said, which work are you doing that you're sowing seed?" Said, "I just want to tap the grace." This is, she was like, "Okay." He said, "What do I want?" I said, "I just want to be able to take care of myself. Like I'm tired of all this." He said, "Okay, I should give her 3 months." And they fast in the church. I should give her 3 months and I should join her in fasting. I said, "Okay." So I started. I didn't know anybody in Edo States. I didn't know anybody there. All I knew was my auntie. So I said, okay, I would give this a try. So I joined. I started fasting with them. They start. So they usually do 3 days dry fasting every week. So they said I can do one day. So they start fasting on Thursday, Friday. I mean Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They fast those 3 days. So I said, okay, I would fast Thursdays. So I started fasting. As I was fasting, one day I came outside. I met my neighbor. My neighbor told me, okay, he has a brother. What do I do? Told him I'm an artist. That I sing, I rap. Said, you sing, rap? Okay. That his brother sings and raps too. So he introduced me to his brother and started practicing my raps with his brother. I was still praying, fasting, going to church. Another day, while me and him were somewhere practicing our music together, somebody heard us said, you guys are good. You don't sound like Beanie artists. This. I said, So the person said he has a studio that can we come record free songs in the studio? I said, I told my dad this was happening. My dad said, let's continue now. While you're waiting, while you're here. I was still there. After a while, the person told us that why don't we do a free album? So I said, said this fasting
He's
is
doing
working, no, it's
something. No.
doing something, no. I was recording free album, they brought other artists, producer. One day when I came back home, my friend was going to his house, there was someone in compound, the person called and said, you're a young boy, you're living anyhow life, you go out in the morning, come back. He said, no, that he goes to the studio every day. I said, yeah, I said him, he does not even have anything he's doing, he just came back from London, can he be our manager? Now we had manager. If we want to perform somewhere, the manager prepares everything for us, buys anything we need. I said this fasting is doing something. So if I was doing one day, I increased it to 2 days. And manager now said that he's shown some of our music to some of his friends in London, and one is coming back to work with the Oba of Benin son to open the record label. That's how my fasting entered 3 days. I went and I met General Vasi. I said, Mama, all the prayers, they have worked. Doors opened everywhere. That this person is coming, the person has to sign us. This. Mama said, am I praying? I said, am I fasting? He said, it will all work out. So he came, they gave us contracts. The contracts included a house. We would share a house together, furnished. We both get one car, and we both get one million naira. And I was like, where do I sign? But now my friend had already finished school. He had already graduated. So he was telling me that this contract
He has issues.
has issues. I was like, what issues? I've read this thing. So he came, he called me, was not pointing it out. That's when I realized I have to go back to school. I realized I need to go back. I need to go and get sense. I need to go back to school. So I realized that just 3 months, 3 intentional months with God,
Yes.
I got a record deal that people were looking for. So I was not like, what will now happen if I just deal with God? Like if I just hold him and just with him. So I called my mom, and I told her that okay, we need to told my mom and told her that I need to go back to school. So that she thought I want to live anyhow life. I told her no, that I want to go back to school, and said okay, that there's somewhere that I owe her. If they pay, I'll go. I entered into prayer and fasting, and things opened up. But one of the moments that helped me with my substance use was there was a day that I was sitting down in my room in the parlor. I remember where I was seated. I was sitting down in the parlor and I was facing forward. I was on the laptop and I slept up and I had an encounter. And God told me, and I saw God, and I know it's God because God told me that He wants to make me so rich. But if He blesses me, in fact, God said He wants to give me $1 million. Lord, you said you want to give me $1 million. Said He wants to give me $1 million. But if He gives me that money, I'm going to kill myself and I'm going to kill like 5 people with me. And I thought about it. And I remember that my friend, the billionaires, there was a day that the senior brother was tired of giving all of us 5k to every day. And he called us, said, okay, you go and bring so car. You get it, I pay you agency, I even dash you money on top. You go and bring this. And me, they told me I should go get land. And I went. I went to get the land. I got everything arranged, but he didn't like it. And I didn't look for anything again. I just preferred that money they were giving us every day. And God was telling me that if I'd gotten that money, I'd have probably bought one bogus car, gone to rent out the down floor of one hotel, fill the car with drugs, carry all my friends there, and we'll say today we'll kill ourselves with drugs, and someone actually die. So at that moment where God was talking to me, I was now realizing that if God that is meant to be able to bless me without compulsion, bless me without reservation, bless me without any reason, feels that his blessings will be detrimental to me because of my behavior, because of the substance that I use, I need to change. So that was like my ground zero. So I call that like a point of sober reflection. So at that point, I just told myself that I have to change because me acting like this and living like that is not even allowing God to bless me because God feels that his blessings will kill me. So at that
So at that
point,
point, that was the point that you were no longer in school.
I
You
was no
were
longer in
with
school.
your aunt in
Yes, and
Edo,
in Edo
and
State.
then you had this
And
encounter.
I had this encounter. And so
Okay.
I didn't stop everything one day.
Mm,
I was like, God, you are going to help me with this.
mm.
I didn't stop everything one day. I stopped some of
So
the.
how were you able to stop? Because I think this is one of the challenges that people who have gotten hooked on substance abuse have. Many of them are wanting out of it. They really want to be free, but they can go off it for 2 3 days, and then before they know it, they start craving it, and then they find themselves inside it again. So what was it that helped you to
That,
come out of it clean and then to stay clean?
so that was it. Once God spoke to me that He wants to make me rich,
Mm,
but His blessings will kill me,
mm,
I just knew I have to stop. I didn't stop everything at once. I stopped taking the codeine, the raffinol. After that, after a while, I stopped the marijuana. I was still going to church. I was still fasting. I was still listening to the word. I was
mm,
still following my music. And as I was seeing what was happening, I was just cutting down. I cut down to the point that it was now only alcohol and cigarettes. Then later I said no more cigarettes, only alcohol. And today I don't even drink. I've not had a drink in about maybe 8 to 9 years. I haven't tasted alcohol. Not because I feel alcohol is bad, but because I realized I'm in charge of myself
mm,
and I can choose what I want. I have the power. The last time I wanted to have a drink was someone took me out, one of my friends, she took me out like, hey, let's have a drink. And I was like, wow, I don't even remember the last time I had alcohol. And I said, in
mm,
fact, today I'm not even going to have alcohol. And I now mark that day as the last time I would ever drink
mm.
because I was in charge. I
Yeah.
can choose to be in charge. And
Mm,
when I look at it, there are also other challenges that when I've spoken with people that have substance use challenges and God has used me to help them, sometimes we have prayed because substance use can also be an attack on a person's life
yeah.
and it might be looking for a channel to manifest as, and it now sees a route to manifest through substance use. It can
Yeah.
be an attack on the father, an attack on the mother, an arrow shot to the family, and it's looking for a way to manifest. That's a very deep, that's a
Yeah.
very, very, that's another way. So it's now a deliverance minister that can also help.
Mm,
But to understand that um, this challenge is a two-faced challenge because the spiritual and the physical are two parts of the same coin.
yeah.
So there are families that will actually have to deal with substance use challenge, and what we would do sometimes we would meet up. The individual would pray with the individual, would talk. The individual would tell a story. The Bible says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. I would
Yes.
usually share my testimony of how God helped me because there's power in our
Yes.
testimony. And when I share the testimony, God will be able to bring the person to a point of sober reflection and we can have a rededication to Christ. From that point of rededication, we the person is setting a fresh start. Then we can have combined prayers together. We usually have like family prayers. Maybe the person, myself, and a member of the family or two members of the family have midnight prayers. There will be revelation on the direction of which we should pray about. And as we pray along those lines, we believe God for intervention. We want to seize that test in the person,
Yes.
to cut off negative influences. And after we deal with the spiritual side, we can now look for maybe a facility or someone that can help, a facility that can actually address the physical side. Because substance use disorder is a chronic relapsing brain disorder
Yeah.
characterized by a person going after a particular drug of choice, regardless of how it affects him, his family, or the
Or
society.
society.
So when we address the spiritual, we can address the physical. Trying to address the physical alone might leave a person relapsing,
Yeah.
and trying to address the spiritual alone and leave a person relaxing. But if you have a balanced approach, and I'm happy to be on this platform because I can't
That's
talk
it.
like this
I
on
know.
every platform. It's only here that I can,
Yeah.
and I will not say that everything has been, because I'm going from glory to glory, but by the grace of God, we've been opportunity to see good results. As long as a family member is interested, one person interested to pray, as long as God will use the testimony to bring the person to a point of sober reflection, and that person wants to change, God will show up. The test will
Absolutely.
die
You said something now. If that person wants a
once
change,
to
because
change.
really, I've spoken with a number of young people too, and there was one particular one that we had to refer him to someone, a mental health specialist, in Kaduna. And when I referred him, the person called me back and said, this person that you sent is not ready.
It's not ready.
And the thing is, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to stop. If you have not made up your mind to stop, whatever anybody does will really not matter. So I wanted to latch on what you said, that the person also has to be ready and tired of this life that he's been living and wants a change. The moment you get to that point, it becomes easy to help such a person, because I think our will is also important in that decision. If you have not taken that decision to stop, to say no, I don't want to do this again, it becomes, the devil can then, come again and say, okay, and play on your emotions, play on your, instincts, play on your thirst and all that, and bring you back into that thing. So it has to be an intentional decision. You
Yes,
say, I
intentional.
want to stop this, and then you can find help. And thank you for sharing your personal experience and the multi-pronged approach that you talked about too. Not just looking at the physical. Of course, we know that it's a mental health problem, but we also know, because we are spiritual beings, we also know that there is a spiritual connotation to everything. We started this interview by, I was talking about the fact that every young person, out there, God has a purpose for their
Yes,
lives.
I understand.
And look at what you described. God has destined you to be someone great, blessed you with many skills, many talents, and all that. The devil saw that. And he saw that, there are some destinies that are hanging on your own destiny. Imagine if you are not doing what you're doing today. Look at all the lives, that God has, through you, been able to help. If you were still hooked on drugs somewhere, perhaps you will not even be sitting here today. Perhaps you would have ended like those other people had ended. But God saw your heart, and you then took a decision. And I think that's what, we're celebrating today. You were able to take that decision. I don't want to go this route again. And each time the opportunity comes to drink, to take a sniff, you say, no, I'm not doing this. So I want to say a little bit about that, because I know, one, there are people who may be watching that they've come to that point where, all these things that we talked about, they've experienced it, but they know that their lives are not going anywhere. Out of school, imagine out of school, just living life, anyhow, but they've come to a place. So what are 2 or 3 things that you are going to say to a young person out there who is in this situation, who perhaps may have even come to the end of the rope and is feeling like, because some people have killed themselves because they looked at everything and they're like, what is life? But I like you to just say a word to somebody like that, and what would you like to say to them?
Okay. Um, Substance use is not a death sentence. Personally, I've seen people come out of it. I've seen people being at the bottom of the bottom, and I've seen them rise again. There are days that I was not in control of myself, which is tantamount to madness.
Mm,
There are days that we lost memories of what we did,
mm,
but I've seen God show Himself faithful. And one thing I know is that no matter how deep a person sinks, the mighty arms of God, the outstretched arm of God, is able to pull them out. So I want you to know that it's not a death sentence, that there's hope at the end of the tunnel, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's help available. If you're a parent and you're watching right now and you feel like your child is far gone,
mm,
I believe that God still has a plan. If you are ready to pray, I know people that are ready to help. I'm available to help, to work with you, to help that child of yours. If you're ready to pray, I'm ready to pray with you to see how God can use our prayers and use us to take that son or that daughter into that purpose. I know what God has done in my life. I know what God has done with other people's life. And I know that God's plans for us are plans of good and not of evil,
mm,
to bring us to a good, prosperous, expected end.
mm.
So I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to be encouraged and know that you seeing this message, seeing this video, listening to this right now is God's light getting to you, letting you know that your solution has come.
Amen. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ken. It
A
was
pleasure.
amazing speaking with you, and thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah.
So you've heard it. You've heard it. Substance or drug abuse is not a death sentence. God can bring you out of it. No matter how far gone you are, there is a way out. There is a way out. As long as you make up your mind that you want out of this and you stretch out your hand to God, God is going to pull you out of that. And if you have questions, you're needing help, please reach out. You can drop a comment and we will be happy to get back to you and to connect you. If you want to connect with Ambassador Ken or anyone else that can help you, just let us know and we'll be happy to do the connection. So this is how we wrap up on this edition of Matters of Destiny. Today we have talked about drug and substance abuse. We've been chatting with Ambassador Ken, and it's been an amazing, you know, minutes with Ambassador Ken. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to having you again in the next edition of Matters of Destiny. God bless you.
Amen.